Slender Man is directed by Slavon White, and this is the big screen adaptation of the popular urban legend known as Slender Man, who in this film starts to consume a small town in Massachusetts after being invited by four teenage girls after they watch a video online. If I'm being honest, the mythology of Slender Man is never something that I found to be all that interesting or that compelling. I also never found the concept or the design of this character to really be all that frightening, especially in the popular video game that was based off of this character. And even with my expectations being pretty much at zero, I don't think that could have prepared me for just how awful this film is. The film opens with an expected but well enough start, introducing our characters and this group of friends, and they watch this video inviting the Slender Man to come into their lives, and as a result, their friend mysteriously disappears. And I would say that this is at the 20-ish minute mark, so you still have 70 minutes remaining of this film, which nothing happens during that time frame. There's no escalation of plot. This film is just devoid of any entertainment. This was an absolute slog to get through. Easily one of the most monotonous horror films that I've had to watch this year. And I think the reason why is pretty apparent. The second their friend goes missing, they almost immediately conclude that Slender Man was the person that took her. They discover this almost immediately. So for the rest of the film, really the only thing that happens is they're just perpetually tormented by Slender Man, who, as a surprise to no one, looks pretty atrocious in this film, especially because in this film he appears to be made out of wood, like he was brought to life by Geppetto. And every time he appears, the same audio cue appears, the sound of like wood being snapped or bent or warped. And I don't know about you guys if you saw this film, but I didn't think that seeing this character on the big screen for the first time was really all that frightening. This character has been in the public consciousness for about 7 to 8 years now, give or take. And so when his character appears, it just kind of fell flat for me. And seeing how this film received a PG-13 rating, I think the teenagers who are actually able to go and see this film will probably like it considerably more than people my age, people who were aware of this character when it was at its height of popularity, like when I was in like junior high. There are some recognizable faces in this film, surprisingly, one of the most notable being Joey King, who actually has made appearances in some of the best and some of the worst that horror's had to offer in recent years. And unfortunately, this film does fall in the latter category. And I wouldn't say that Joey specifically, but really the entire cast together wasn't all that impressive. They all delivered their lines in kind of the same very breathy, very panicky way. But giving them the benefit of the doubt, I think judging by some of the dialogue in this movie, I'm probably assuming that they didn't have much to work with here. Slender Man is also a terribly cliche and incredibly drab horror film that features not one, but like half a dozen scenes where a character goes onto their computer to investigate more about Slender Man. I don't know what it is about a lot of modern day horror films that feel the need to deliver this exposition on the computer in this way. It's such a lazy way, and I really never want to see it utilized in another horror film as long as I live. This film also so frequently utilizes the dolly zoom technique so often that it just became so irritating. And I would say that they probably utilized this camera technique probably 10 or so times throughout the duration of this film. I think something positive I can probably say about this movie is they don't use any false jump scares, which I appreciated. They certainly do that right. But of course, on the flip side of that, I don't think that there are really any effective scares in this movie. And judging by the rest of the crowd that I saw this film with, I assume that they probably felt the same way. I would say though that there are probably one or two effective moments of some creepy imagery, but that's really about it. Not to say that a horror movie has to have scares to be good. I certainly appreciate a horror movie with effective atmosphere, but seeing them so intentionally try to scare the audience and just fail miserably, it's kind of a ding against it. Slender Man is also a film that seemingly has no plot, frequently just pulling conflict out of thin air. Like in one scene that there's this character who kind of calls her friend out for being so obsessed with track and field that she's surprised that she didn't offer one of her medals when they're trying to make almost a sacrifice to Slender Man. The only problem is this isn't a component that was introduced early in the film really at all. At the beginning of this movie, you see her talking about track and field with her parents, but it's in no way that's highlighting that she's so obsessed with this sport. She's just talking about like practice. And in her room, you can see some medals and some trophies, but that's really about it. There's nothing so alarming that she has a problem because she's so obsessed with track and field. And it really only comes up in this moment. It's not really referred to any later in the film besides the fact that she has to go to track practice later. I would say it even does more to prove that she's probably not obsessed with track, because when she's running through the forest, she like falls down multiple times. But that's also assuming that she ran in track and field. Maybe she threw the javelin or something. And it's moments like this that prove that this film just has its concept and really nothing else. This film's attempt at horror is meager at best. The dialogue is corny and the special effects are even worse. And this probably is the worst horror film that I've seen in 2018, which actually is saying a lot because I've sat through some stinkers this year. So did you guys see Slender Man? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hoped you liked today's video. And if you did, you can click on the link down below and subscribe to my channel to see more movie reviews and movie related things. And guys, thank you so much for watching and see you next time.